So since we're in awards mode, lads, the All-Stars were last week, let's give out some of our own smaller fish awards. Our first award is for Player of the Year. And the nominations are, we have 𝐏𝐥𝐚𝐲𝐞𝐫, which differs from last week's nominations. David Clifford, who obviously won it last week. And I'm putting in Conor McCarthy as well, who was outstanding all year. So who do you think here, Cian? Don't be influenced by the actual All-Stars. Who are you going to go give it to out of that little out of those three nominations?
Yeah, I was surprised Brendan Rodgers isn't on the list there as well. He had a great year. But Shane McGuigan, for me, would have been my Player of the Year. He's had an incredible season. If you think of the key moment in the Ulster final as well, where he's winning his own kick-out, winning frees. Just in terms of complete performances in a lot of games, he was exceptional. And then he was the top scorer. So even if you look at it and say David Clifford is the best score getter in the game, and McGuigan scored more than him. So... as well as doing all the other stuff.
I have actually written down what McGuigan scored, Aaron. It's out of control. How he wasn't nominated, I think, is outrageous. He scored 2-5 against Fermanagh, 9 against Monaghan, 4 from play. Against Monaghan, he scored 9, 4 from play. Against Armagh, the final, he scored 7, 5 from play. And that was one of the most heroic. That nearly should have won Player of the Year alone. 9 against Monaghan, 3 from play. 3 against Donegal, 9 against Clare, 5 from play, 6 against Kerry. He was unmarkable in the first half. Why is he not in the conversation here?
It is surprising, I suppose, whenever it comes down to that you only have 3. You had 3 other very worthy candidates who were named as well. But I would have to agree with you. As someone, obviously, I was there in person for the Ulster final. From an Armagh perspective, I thought we had it won. And what he did the last couple of minutes for an inside forward who has the scoring ability, coming out, fetching ball in the middle of the field. And I know that's going against maybe what we've just spoke about, but it was the leadership quality that he showed and to have the ability to execute every skill in the game. But the biggest one was his courage. He was amazing. And single-handedly, I thought he dragged them across the line in just the final. Obviously, his performances throughout the rest of the year, clearly with those scores, he was unbelievably consistent. But so was Brendan Rodgers for me. I thought just even the switch from full-back to middle of the field, the amount of scores he got, just the presence he had was incredible. But along with Fenton and obviously David Clifford, who were nominated for the main award, what they all have was just a level of consistency which was unbelievable. But I still would go with David Clifford as my Player of the Year. I think in terms of consistency levels, what he's done from his club, where his season is never ending, right through.
Does that count into it though?
It does for me, because he's at top of his game. And you can say it was junior club level or whatever, but he still has to turn up day in, day out and perform to the top level. He had a quiet All-Ireland final and he had misses that are completely...
Quiet against Tyrone now as well. It has to be, other than that brilliant kick towards the end.
He was, but at times, and again, I was at that game myself, he was winning balls, he was drawing other people to the ball and creating space for others. So while he wasn't on it as much, he didn't get the same scores again. There was other stuff that he was doing that was able to add towards them getting the win and getting a comfortable win at that. So for me, I'll go with David Clifford as the best individual player in Ireland for the season.
Okay, the reason I'm putting Conor McCarthy in there, he scored 2-12 from wing back. He got the winning score against Kildare. He scored 1-2 in 2 different games, 3 points from play against Armagh. Like a fantastic. This is what Player of the Year is all about, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. You don't have to be. As far as I'm concerned, Brian Fenton had a good year, but I don't think he was Player of the Year. I'd love to ask Brian, do you think you should have been nominated there? Because I'd say he might say, you know, I might win an All-Star. Player of the Year for me is someone who's got Man of the Match awards and who's doing really special things. I don't remember Fenton, maybe 10 minutes to go against Monaghan, he came into that game really well. But I'm not sure he's in the Player of the Year category.
Yeah, well, look, Fenton, as he always does, he was really, really important for Dublin in the big games and in the big moments. And in fairness to him, he has always done that. He wasn't at his brilliant best in a lot of the earlier campaign games. So if you're looking at it over the course of the season, he probably wouldn't have reached the standards he would usually set in some of the earlier games. But when it came to the crunch, he was excellent. I think Conor McCarthy was obviously exceptional. It was a match winner for Monaghan in a number of their matches. So I mean, I suppose it depends what way you want to look at it.
That's the way I see it.
Is somebody who plays a 7 or an 8 out of 10 every game your Player of the Year? Is it someone who has 3 10 out of 10 games and maybe has a quieter match? So it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder there. Yeah. I suppose it's your award. So.
It is my award. So the winner, Player of the Year, we have it here, a little bit like the Oscars here, lads. The winner of Player of the Year is Shane McGuigan. So congratulations to Shane McGuigan. Right, one more award here. We have Shock of the Year. lads. And the nominations for Shock of the Year are Stephen Cluxton just landing on television on 𝐒𝐥𝐸 in the league. Nobody expected that at all. Roscommon's 6 minutes of possession that had everybody talking, complete shock. And Glenn Ryan saying what absolutely everyone outside of Dublin agrees on, that Croke Park is an advantage to Dublin because they play all their home league games there. Cian, I'll let you go first on this one. Who do you think wins Shock of the Year?
Yeah.
Glenn Ryan, isn't it? Isn't that what you're going to say?
Yeah, Glenn Ryan.
As a bitter meat man.
Yeah, no. Look, sure. Look, what do you say about it? I mean, everybody has spoken at length about the advantages that that Dublin have playing all
Why
their
won't
games at
Dublin
home.
ex-players accept this? Is it because they think we're diminishing their achievements?
Yeah, well, yes, and because it probably does to a small degree as well. I mean, if you take any club team in Ireland and say you can play every single match at home, you know, they're probably going to win more games than they lose. But in the context of what Glenn was saying in that particular day, it was a little bit of I suppose a rant from him. He was very frustrated with certain things, but on that game, I think he was frustrated with refereeing decisions and certain things that went against him. And I suppose maybe just trying to give a bit of a focus on the main issue at hand, which is, I suppose, everybody outside of Dublin saying the obvious thing that if you play every single game at home, it is an advantage. I mean, nobody can argue that point. Anyone who argues that point is just, talking rubbish.
He's not being objective about it as far as I would be concerned. I'm going to call out the winner here, lads. So the winner for Shock moment of the year is Stephen Cluxton, just arriving back. Nobody saw this coming, Aaron. Like, I mean, Jesus, he's just won his 7 All-Stars. He won his first when he was 21. He's now nearly 42. Some gap in between it. Like, this is like freakish kind of stuff.
To be fair, it's absolutely incredible. But I suppose everything that's gone with Stephen since he started playing, it's not really that big of a shock because he's fit and capable for anything. But yeah, I couldn't believe it whenever the camera just panned across to him, and you're automatically just thinking he must be in as a goalkeeping coach here. And for then to what came out of it, where he was back, and obviously the level that he played to again, I know he mightn't have been tested as much as other goalkeepers, but for me, even what he did in the All-Ireland final, I was directly behind him in the first half, where he just nonchalantly went up and just stroked over a 45 as if it was the dead of his leisure. After being out of the game for so long, it was incredible. The fact that they kept it so quiet probably was more of a shock, that it never got out at all. But yeah, for him to come back out of the blue, do what he did, brilliant season for him.
Yeah.